You gotta increase your mic. I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Okay. Ever since I was a kid, just kind of like always like grew up in like a Christian household. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right now.
in regards to like Christianity or whatever, do you think that the Bible is accurate?
Yeah, but I believe it is accurate.
Okay. So do you think that it prescribes like moral truth, for example? Like what is morally true?
I mean, I think it has good morals in it.
Okay, please.
So
Like
do
it
you
teaches
think that
us
like
good morals.
yeah, so do you think that like it's like morally true that like that slavery and genocide was completely like justifiable and fine to do?
Well,
Yes, it was. It's needed because we're now at a point where world
Yeah.
peace is
Shut up. Let her talk.
without Russia.
Shut up. Let her talk. All right, go. Yeah, so in Exodus and Leviticus and in Deuteronomy or whatever, how it details like genocide of the Amalekite people as well as slavery as anybody else except for the Israelites, God's chosen people. You think this was justified, fine to do?
Dude, you know the fucking lore, holy shit.
Bro, if you keep talking, I'm just gonna remove you. Stop interrupting. I'm trying to hear her. Go.
I think the Bible just has some good morals. I didn't mean like everything in the Bible is like actually.
Well, the problem is that in Deuteronomy or whatever, or it was either Leviticus or Deuteronomy, but how the chapter reads, it goes, put to the sword the people who don't come from God's people, Israel, God's not chosen people, right? So basically how it would work is God ordained slavery in a sense that like if the Israelites wanted land, they were supposed to go up to the land. They were supposed to go up to the land or whatever and ask for it nicely, and if they refuse, they're supposed to put to the sword all the people who refused or whatever, and the men and the women and children, they may take them as a chattel or whatever, so like chattel slavery and stuff, and they may take them as what was the exact word of plunder. That was right. So they take the women and children as plunder for themselves, so they're not even seen as like human beings. What do you think those men did to the women who they don't see as human beings? Take a wild guess.
Wait, can you repeat the quote that you said? I'm like kind of confused.
Yeah, so essentially God ordained the slavery and genocide of the people who are not Israelites. So the Amalekites, the Canaanites, etc.
She said the exact thing about.
Yep. You want me to get you the verses? I can read you the verses.
Okay, she loved the verse. She said that.
Yeah, sure. So it's in Exodus or whatever. So yeah, I'll read you the verses right here. I got a whole Google document on this. So yeah. Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up the verses. Give me 1 second. Are you not familiar with this at all, or?
I just don't know which verse you're talking about. You kind of just said that, like God said slavery.
Yeah. Sure. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, so right here in give me 1 second. Hold on. So yeah, so right here in Leviticus 25:44 to 46, it says, your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. So God is ordaining the slavery and the genocide of everybody, the Canaanites, the Amalekites, people who aren't God's chosen people, the Israelites. So as long as you're not buying and selling Israelites, everybody else is completely fine to do. So not only is he ordaining slavery, but it's by race, right? It's like by the Amalekites, by the Israelites and stuff. So yeah, I'm curious, was this fine to do to you?
I don't think it's fine, but I think there's like a cultural like context you have to like take into like consideration. Like because I believe that near like the East, slavery was like a common like thing, and in fact, the passage that you said kind of reflects the social like context, like how men and women and like women, you know, didn't have like as much rights as men, and it kind of like
Yeah, but like what? Yeah, but like I don't see like I see what you're saying, but I don't see like why this would matter, right? Like if God's word is everlasting and eternal and immune to like time or whatever, right? God's teachings doesn't erode with time or whatever, right? This wouldn't be cultural relativism, which is kind of what you're like hinting towards. Like it doesn't matter the time period. Like it doesn't matter if this happened like 1,000 years ago or if it happened today. God's word doesn't change. He's fucking God, right? So like it wouldn't make sense to say that like, oh, you have to take into account like the time period that it was in or the nuances that it was in. Like it doesn't matter, right? Like God's word doesn't change given time. It's God's word.
Hello, guys.
Hold on, stop talking. So yeah, so there's not only that or whatever.
Why?
So, okay.
Why?
Okay. Okay. Hold on.
Why? I'm just talking.
Okay, so anyways, so yeah, there's the slavery of the Amalekite people and Canaanite people, and there's also the genocide of the Amalekites in particular, where they like refused to give up their land, so like the Israelites slaughtered them, and they took the and they also killed the innocent animals. By the way, interestingly enough, by Reki or whatever. So so they also killed the animals or whatever. They took the men and women as slaves and stuff, and they slaughtered the Amalekite people because they didn't want to give up their land or whatever. And this was ordained by God. These are innocent people killed by God, by the way.
I kind of think that what you said is kind of outlines like the difference in like,
Hold on, I can't hear you. Golden Pains, be quiet. Can you repeat what you said? Hold on.
No, I feel like the
sounds so
passage that you said
symbiotic
kind
now,
of-
dude.
Oh, God damn it. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like what you said kind of like outlines the difference in like treatment between like Israelites and like non-Israelites. I know it can kind of seem really harsh from modern standards, but I feel like it still like reflects kind of like the hierarchy and typical nature of like ancient societies, where like the laws often like prioritize like the community identity and like just kind of just surviving, like the economic survival.
Yeah, I mean, these are still innocent people, though, right? Like, I assume you don't think it's okay to, like, genocide innocent people. I assume the good intentions of everybody, right? Like,
and I think one of like the most like controversial passages in the Bible as well.
yeah, well, this is what I'm talking about, right? So, in regards to, like, God's existence, when...
I'm back.
God's word is everlasting. I understand.
Hold on. Yeah, so in regards to like God's existence, when people use like the Christian Bible as the arbiter of truth, like, well, I ask, like, do you think if it gives like moral, if you don't think that this is moral, that this is actual moral truth, then why should I take anything the Bible says is like accurate or like moral or whatever?
I think it's also like very important to like interpret it in its historical and like.
Well, how else do I interpret these passages, right? Your slaves may come from other nations. How do you think the South interpreted when they enslaved black people?
Yeah, but it's routed in a kind of
W.
Hey, you're out. You're out of here. Goodbye.
Fuck off, nigger.
Yeah, classic. I don't have an argument, so I'm gonna call you the N-word. Nice. Yeah. Anyways, what were you saying? Continue.
Is on how like the Bible reveals God's like progression plan, where like justice and mercy kind of more like over time, like it's like accumulating.
Which came a bit too late for the Amalekite people, huh?
I love the quality in that inherent. I never like.
Well, hold on. I like this merciful, like this idea of this merciful, like all-loving God, which I guess he became merciful and all-loving a bit too late for the Amalekite people that got genocided, right?
I mean, but God's like progression plan is over time.
Wait, so God changes over time? But I thought that he was like all-knowing, all-powerful. Like, why would he change?
God has a great progressive plan for justice and mercy over time. Instead,
Okay.
I don't remember the exact verse, but it's like has like a progression over.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can agree with that. Sure.
I guess you could say that it came like too late to the like.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. You're talking about like God's plan, right? So I'm curious. If this is the justification or whatever, right? Like, to me, here's my thing. A lot of people, like, justify the kind of like sketchy passages from like the Old Testament or the New Testament or whatever with what's called divine command theory. Do you know what this is? Yeah, so divine command theory is a theory of ethical or a theory of meta-ethical values, which dictates that we know what is good and bad and what is evil depending on what God says. Which means that literally anything can be justified as long as it's ordained by God, right? Because part of God's ontology is good. If God says it, it's good, right? Even if you don't think it's good, like, who are you to argue with fucking God, right? Like, he knows everything, right? So it wouldn't. So basically, when it comes to the slaughter of the Amalekite people or the slavery of everybody else except for the Israelites, like, this would be justified by a sense that, like, yeah, if it's ordained by God, then it's good. Like, who are you to argue with God? And this is God's plan, right? Like, who are you to argue with? Again, God's plan. Well, to me, again, I just may be like a nobody, but I'm just gonna say, disagree with slavery, disagree with genocide. I don't care what any God says. I'm just gonna say, I'm not approving of those plans. That's, yeah, that's what I think.
I was gonna say that like God's laws are seem to like aim to regulate it, like preventing abuse and often like protecting it, you know?
Yeah, so yeah. Yeah, but Riz, you wanna know a really good way to regulate slavery?
Okay.
Abolish it. Just to not have it, right?
Yo, that's what Lincoln did for real.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's like the best way to regulate slavery is to just, you know, like, get rid of it.
Yo, but wait, no, that didn't work with Lincoln either.
But yeah, no, that's but anyways. So in regards to like the existence of God, like when we use, like, for example, like a lot of like Muslim people will bring up the Quran, and all I need to know is like, well, hold on, one of your prophets did this with a 9-year-old. It's like, okay, well then the Christians use the Bible as their truth or whatever. It's like, hold on, was it true that slavery and genocide is justified? No. Okay, then the Bible doesn't give like truth or whatever, right? So neither of these books are accurate. So I don't see like why anybody would use these books to like prove God's existence or whatever if you guys are already admitting that it's inaccurate, that it's not, that slavery and genocide is not good, that having sex with a 9-year-old is not good. Then why would I trust any of these books then?
I know, but I kind of like a different perspective. Like, I feel like some could argue that God allowing slavery at any stage is obviously troubling. However, I kind of view it more than an example of like God working within the limits of human society. Because they're not eventual transformation, which it kind of did.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess another problem I have with this is just like how these passages can be used like later on. Like it like, sure, like when we talk about like how we interpret these things or whatever, right? Like obviously like God's not chosen people, like the Canaanites, the Amalekites or whatever, were enslaved to genocide. It's like, okay, well, how it led to, like, you know, slowly led to a better society we are in now, right? But like the problem is that we have people or societies who will use the Bible to justify heinous acts or whatever. That wasn't really that long ago. For example, like I said, like the enslavement of black people, right? The enslavement of black people like was heavily justified by these passages in the Bible. And like I said, like the civil rights era was not that long ago. In fact, there are people who lived through it, you know? So again, like I don't think, like, how did these people, you know, if this is like God's like plan or whatever, and we all agree slavery is bad and stuff, how did these people get God's plan so wrong? You know what I mean? Like, how did they get it so wrong to where they enslaved an entire race of people? It's like, well, hold on, they didn't get it that wrong. It literally says right here, your slaves can come from other nations. It says right here. How else can you interpret that, right?
But it's kind of different because in the Bible, slaves were actually like that slaves like based on blood, they were not actually like racist, which is what you're saying. So it's actually a lot different.
Yeah, I've heard this before. Yeah, I've heard this before. Like how slavery wasn't like slavery how it was in the South. It was like a different kind of slavery where they were basically like, yeah.
Based on debt.
Yeah.
They aren't like eternal principles. They're just like in the Bible.
So let me ask you. Yeah. So let me ask you then. Do you think that there's an ethical way to perform slavery then? That ethical slavery exists?
Well, I can't say.
What?
Take the
I don't
anime
think I
voice.
should be one to like. I mean, I don't think they should, but
An ethical way of doing slavery?
like specifically, no.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, regardless.
Who's
Hold on. Stop talking. Stop talking. So regardless of like how slavery was during like the Israelites and Canaanite or Amalekite days versus like the southern version, like southern slavery or whatever, right? Or slavery in the South in America, right? Like regardless of how it's done, you've already admitted there's no like ethical way to do it or whatever, right? So it doesn't matter, like,
But
right?
I'm just interpreting how God probably saw it. I wouldn't like how God probably saw it. I think it just kind of reflects the brokenness of like the human system, and God kind of like tried like God's effort to bring about like kind of like redemption within him, kind of.
Yeah, so
But
I'm
honestly,
curious. Okay, so I'm curious about this, right? In regards to like God's plan, right? I'm curious. What about like this? What about this here, where it says in the Old Testament or whatever, right? How it says that if a man wants to go free and he served a certain number of years or whatever, right? He's allowed to go free, but his family is not allowed to go free, right? Like his wife and kids or whatever. But if he decides he loves his master, his ear is pierced and him and his family stay slaves for life or whatever. Like, why not make this super simple moral improvement? Like you know, if one person wants to go free, then let his family go free too. Why not make that improvement? Why does God ordain the slavery of kids of his family? Like, I don't understand this.
well, if you make
It's a
it
super
about it,
simple improvement,
I'm
right?
pretty sure that Israelites were like also commanded by the Lord to like treat slaves with like dignity, and to release fellow Israelites in the year I think of Jubilee. I don't know where in the Bible it says it, but I think it's in like yeah, I'm not too sure actually. But I think
Well,
it's
like I said,
like
we've already established that there's no ethical way to do slavery, so who cares how they're treated, right?
It's an emote on.
I know, but that's just how they were treated.
Yeah, but who cares?
Talking
There's
about
no
a lot
ethical
different
slavery. Who cares if they're treated right? Who
But I feel
cares?
like the ultimate like ethic of love and like equality in Christ kind of transcends like
Which
these
came a bit
systems.
too late for the Amalekites, right?
No, I don't think so. You know,
No, you don't think so? The all-forgiving, loving God that when the Amalekites got genocide, I guess he wasn't all forgiving and loving back then, right? Maybe.
no, I wouldn't say that. I would just stress that. I mean, I feel like Christ kind of transcends these like system, like these temporary systems.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Um. Okay. I'm all right. I guess I'm done picking on you about the Bible here.
oh,
Uh,
I mean,
like, I mean, there's yeah. Again, I think you can kind of see being charitable here. I think you can kind of see where I'm coming from. Where somebody like me would read passages like this, would read things like this or whatever, right? That is ordained by God, and then kind of maybe steer away from Christianity and the belief in God. Maybe.
well, I just don't think you have to like feel like I feel like whether God's progression plan is like a fair explanation kind of depends on like your own perspective. Like if like your belief is like you kind of demonstrate God's patience, wisdom, and mercy in working with humanity over time. However, I feel like for you, like a skeptic, it kind of raises question about why God did not abolish slavery outright. So I think it's really just your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I guess another thing. Actually, here's a good question. Here's a question I recently thought of. Right? If God, like, you would agree that like human intuition comes from God, right? Would you agree with something like that?
Human,
Our human intuition, it comes from
sure,
God.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my question is like, why would God give us like commands or ordain something that conflicts with our human intuition? Why would he bake that into us, right? Like every single person, I assume, no trolling shit. Obviously, the average person would agree that genocide of innocent people and slavery of like innocent people would probably be a bad thing. And most people, even though they haven't thought through their moral convictions, can probably just intuit. Like I just believe deep down, it's pretty easy for me to just
Yeah,
intuitively believe that
but
these things are bad. So why would he
again,
ordain these things but give us the intuition to say that these things are wrong?
I think it also kind of still kind of connects to like whether his God's progressive like plan is fair or not. And I think we just don't think it's fair, but I think it's fair.
You think it's
Uh,
fair?
well, I think it's fair. Kind of, I just said like it kind of shows God's patience and wisdom and mercy in working with humanity like over time. Like I don't,
By enslaving and genociding people?
I mean, yeah, it's progressive plan. That
Okay.
God's plan.
Listen. I can. What do you call it? I can. What's the word I'm looking for? Commend you, I guess. I can commend you for trusting in God's plan, but I'm gonna be real. I don't think I can after reading some of these verses. You know.
Well, I feel like the fairness of like this reasoning of with God's plan ultimately kind of comes down to like your faith in God's overarching goodness and His plan to restore justice and love through Jesus Christ. So it like just comes to your faith, and you know.
Yeah,
This is honestly the most civil. This is like the most civil argument because you have like one side talking about you shouldn't believe, but there's the other side that should like force people to believe. I don't see that on both sides.
So in relation to like God's like, cause you brought up like how the goodness of God or whatever, right? I'm curious. Do you believe that the goodness of God is part of His ontology? I can explain that if you don't know what that means. It's fine. I'm not being condescending. Yeah, so ontology just means just the study of being, the study of existence, right? Do you believe that like God's good nature is part of it, as part of His being, that like it's a descriptor of His being?
I mean, hello. These are like a lot of questions.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. I'll just say what I'm getting at. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll say what I'm getting at here, right? I'm essentially asking: are things good because God said so, or is God like appealing to things that are appealing to an objective like good in the universe, and He's telling us what that is?
Yeah, I think so. I think from an ontological like perspective, I feel like many like theological frameworks that bring back God uses the scripture and the
Okay.
It's the study of like what's good, and I think kind of I feel like God's essential nature and how it aligns with His attributes and existence are kind of the same. Like I think it does align.
Okay, so then my question becomes like, if it's part of God's nature or whatever to be good, then like again, it sounds like to me then you're justifying some sort of divine command theory, or it's just like the idea that like anything God says is good. So like again, super genuine, not trying to be disingenuous here, but I'll use theft. I'll use something less emotionally charged. Actually, know what? No, I'll use something emotionally charged or whatever to illustrate the point. It's so, if, for example, if it's part of God's goodness or whatever, if God said that rape is good or whatever, would it be good?
Oh, that got dark.
Well, yeah, I'm using this or whatever to illustrate the point. Like I could use theft or something, but more people feel emotionally charged when it comes to something like this. So like I'm saying, like if God ordained like rape or something, He said like came out and said like, hey, rape is good, would it be good? Like you said, it's part of God's ontological being that He is goodness. So whatever He declares is good. So if He declared that rape was good, would it be good?
I just feel like everyone's life is like RNG.
Yeah, can I take the anime quiz now?
Hold on, I'm curious. Hold on, I'm curious to hear her answer on this.
I mean, I just feel like God's nature is just kind of like inherently good and holy and just. So I don't think this would really like play into that unless you want to do like a hypothetical.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. Like if part of God's nature is goodness, if He revealed to you through divine revelation that hey, raping people is good, is it good?
You got raped and He said it was okay, you'd be okay.
No, but I'm trying to say that it's not really a question. It's not okay. But sure, hypothetically, if I consider it like hypothetically, I mean, I don't know. I think the answer is still kind of like is in relation to just the nature of God and like the philosophical like framework of morality. So I don't really know how to like approach like the question. Like.
He's saying if God said it was okay.
I don't know how to approach the question. Like,
I don't know how else to explain it. It's simply saying that, like, you know, if He revealed to you through some sort of divine revelation, like moral truth, the moral truth, the objective moral truth that rape is good, would you consider rape to be good?
I know, but this like contradicts. Like I just like.
If he's saying it does contradict,
You
and
want
it's
John to
okay
like
because
tell me
he's
the
saying it's
question
okay.
like more logically and like, I guess.
Say what?
Because God cannot contradict himself. If that makes sense.
Well, hold on a second. If do you believe that God is like all things, that he's like all powerful and he's all things, he's omnipresent, omniscient, and
Yeah, I think he's
omnipotent?
omnipresent. Yeah.
Do you think he's omnipotent?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think he's
Give me a vocab
omniscient?
rundown. Wait. Give me a vocab rundown real quick.
So yeah, omnipotent just means all powerful, omniscient just means all knowing, and omnipresent just means he exists everywhere in all places all at once.
I'm just saying omnipresent.
Okay. Do you think he's omniscient?
I'm gonna
Like he
say
knows all?
omnipresent. Well, omnipresent is like the only word I know, so I think I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, but okay, but do you think he knows all things? Do you think he knows everything?
This seems like a trap.
No, I'm literally just asking. Like,
Trap butt booty naked.
What's your follow-up question?
so I'm curious. Like, I'm curious if you think he's all knowing, all powerful, and omnipotent, right? The reason why I asked this is because then, if that's the case, then his to me, I could be wrong, right? But from my perspective, it sounds like his own ontology contradicts his existence, right? Like, so for example, if he's omnipotent, is he simultaneously like not omnipotent? Or if he's all knowing, is he like, for example, I asked like my friend, if God is all powerful and he's all knowing and he knows everything and he's omnipresent,
He would
can
have known this is gonna happen.
well, no. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, can he? No. I'm asking, can he transcend concepts? Can he transcend concepts like death, morality, etc., stuff like that? The answer, if he's omnipotent, would be yes. It would have to be if he's all powerful. It's like, okay, well then can he transcend contradiction? And it's like, well, yes. Then you can't apply any contradiction to God because part of his ontology is to not be contradictory, which is also inherently contradictory, though.
So he's omnipotent. Yeah, because God can't transcend concepts like life and death.
Yeah. So
Because
can
he's, like, eternal,
he transcend
self-existent.
contradictory though? If he's all powerful, then I would expect an all powerful being to transcend concepts like contradictory, right?
I think he can. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So he can't. So God can't be contradictory or whatever.
No, God can't contradict himself or bring into existence something that isn't inherently like contradictory.
Well, if he's not all powerful, then he can't be all things or whatever, right? He can't be all powerful. He doesn't have the power to not be contradictory.
No, because logical contradictions aren't not things to be done. Like they are like inherently like nonsensical and like meaningless.
Well, if God is all things, then can he be nonsensical?
Well, it's just they're meaningless. So I mean, you can't like.
Like if he's all things, right? If he's all powerful, he would have to be all things, because there can't be something greater or more powerful than God. Then he wouldn't be God, then, right? So if he's all things, then he would also be nonsensical, right?
Well, the inability, like they can't like do something logically impossible, like creating a contradiction. It's not like a limitation of God's power, but just more like a reflection of just how perfect He is.
Okay. I'm not sure.
God's
I might
nature is,
not be
like-
understanding here. I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Like the like this does not limit God. It's just like the inability to do like the logically impossible. It's not like a limitation of God's power. It's just a reflection of like how perfect He is. I think. Is the way
Okay.
to like think about it.
Like,
Like God's nature is the foundation of logic and reality. So contradictions do not and cannot exist within His creation. Does that make sense?
okay. So, okay, I understand. So it's not possible. So do you think that so you are of the belief that God can't do impossible things?
What do you mean God can't do impossible things?
Well, you said that like given his nature or whatever, like being inconsistent or nonsensical is like not
he's
possible for him.
perfect.
Right. So
But he would never.
so
he's
he
perfect.
yeah, no, continue.
No, you
So-
can go. I
I-
can go.
Okay. Okay. Essentially, what I was trying to explain here, and like again, this is something I just recently thought of. It's not something I've looked into or whatever, and there may be an actual answer for this. It's just something I just haven't understood or whatever. It's not even something I wrote down in my document because it's not something I'm set on. It's just something I thought about, and it's essentially just like I'm confused about the ontological description of God, right? Because most people, not saying you, most people describe God as this omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent force. And to me, somebody who's all powerful would have to logically be all things or whatever. But to me, like, it would contradict if he was all things, including like contradictory things. Like, how can you be yin and yang? Like, how can you be X and Y? How can you be above contradictory but also not above non-contradictory, etc. Stuff like this.
I think more like God cannot concentrate contradictions or like perform logically contradictory acts because they are like meaningless, not action at all.
I see.
Omnipresent kind of thing operates within like the framework of truth and logic, both of which are rooted in his like unchanging and perfect nature.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look more into what you're saying, because what you're saying sounds it starts to make sense to me a little bit.
Well, it's just that like, I don't know, since God is perfect, I don't know, just like,
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It starts to make sense to me a little bit, so I'll look more into it. One thing I'm interested in, or whatever, where do you I guess one of the last things we'll touch on here, right, is that being a Christian or whatever, I assume you would think that morality is objective, right? You would act as a moral realist.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not. I'm a moral anti-realist, and inside of moral anti-realism, I'm a moral not-cognitivist, and then inside of that, I'm a moral emotivist or whatever, right? And essentially, what this is just the idea that like I believe that like moral expressions are nothing more than our like emotions and how we feel towards them. It's the expression of the feeling or whatever, right? So saying like stealing is wrong or rape is wrong to me would be the equivalent of like rape ill or stealing boo or whatever, right? It's the expression of the emotion, whereas things like giving to charity or like squashing a cockroach or something would be like giving to charity yay or whatever, right? I don't think that like moral facts exist in the same way as like scientific facts, for example, right? And like given this is the case or whatever, right, when you say that like morality is objective, you would say that it comes from God, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so
it's kind of like really debatable, but
so the issue I have here is that like when it comes to like objectivity versus subjectivity, right? Subjectivity just means that things that like exist dependently of the mind. So like thoughts, feelings, beliefs, like words, etc. These things are like subjective or whatever, as in they're subject to change dependently on the mind. And then objectivity are things that exist independently of the mind, right? So I always give the example of like what an apple actually is subjective, but the existence of an apple is objective, right? If a society of 100,000 people came in and said that an apple's a banana is an apple, and another society of 100,000 people said an apple's an apple and a banana is a banana, neither of these people would be right or wrong because words are subjective. We give these words meanings. Whereas the existence of an apple is actually objective, right? Regardless, they can agree that an apple exists, right?
I would say more like objective morality kind of just means that like the moral truth exists like independently from human.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so yeah, you're more realist. Yeah, I know what you're saying. My problem here. Yeah, I see what I know what you're saying. You're more realist, and it exists independently of the mind, right? It doesn't exist like dependently on human beings, right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. My problem here is that like when it comes to subjectivity, when you say things like where morality comes from God or whatever, then it would be inherently subjective, right? It's just that in this particular case, God would be subjective. Morality would come from his mind or whatever. God would just be a subject in this matter. So no matter like how you would slice it, morality would still be subjective. The subject would just be God instead of a human.
Yeah, I see what. Yeah.
So then the question becomes, like, if that's the case, then why should I follow what this mind says, right? Why should I follow what he says? Now you would say, well, because it's good. So then I'll ask you, you still have to prove to me why should I do what's good?
And you should do like good because okay, so like okay, I mean, okay, this is like a hard question. Like how
Yeah, so like I also like maybe that might not be your answer because this is basically the answer. I'm just preempting the answer, right? So I'll ask like, why should I do what God says? Why should I do what this particular mind says, right?
I think this really touches on like why you should do kind of depends on like how you view the world, like the nature of goodness and your ultimate purpose follow like different perspectives. I think like it's kind of just more like this depends on how you view the world. I think.
Yeah, but like you believe that we should view the world under an objective lens, under God's mind, though.
Well, I think
like in terms of like morality, I mean, like the morality is objective. In which case, I would just again ask, like, why should I do what this particular mind says? Like God, why should I do what He says?
Well, it like.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, so essentially, like, why should I do, because what I was saying was that, like, subjectivity is just, it comes from the mind, right? Morality, biologically, would still be subjective, it's just that God would be the subject in this case. Morality comes from His mind.
Well, no, this is just, like, a weird question, because it's just, like, you have to, like, if you believe in God, He's the creator and, like, the sustainer of life.
So I'm saying, homicide. Can we talk about the anime quiz?
Yeah, you can wrap up here.
Like, because He has authority over, like, your creations over you. So becomes, like, if you believe in Lord in the God.
Can I do the anime quiz?
I don't see why, like, just because He created everything, like, why does that mean I have to follow Him? So what?
If you believe in God, do you believe in God?
Well, obviously not, but we're presupposing the existence of God. Why should I do what He says?
Well, no, it's more like if you do the question is if you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, then it doesn't really. Like,
But you being a Christian, you would say that even if somebody doesn't believe in God, that they should still follow God's teachings, though. That's what you believe.
Well, I think because of the fact that like God created you, therefore
I know,
like
that's what I'm saying.
you do what He says.
Yeah, but like, why would I care? Oh wait, hold on. My mom created me too. I don't do what she says. Why should I do what He says though?
This isn't Christian debate. It's anime lobby.
Reality bends to my will.
Anyways.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, just hold on. Yeah, so hold on, Riz. Hold on. Just food for thought. Also, it says anime quiz, win money / debate. It doesn't have to be anime exclusive. All right, I run a debate channel too and an anime quiz channel. So shut the fuck up. And also, like, yeah. So Riz, I guess I'm just.
Shut the fuck up, bitch ass nigga. You thought to shut up, pussy.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on. Kick me, bitch. Kick me, bitch.
Dude, he is. No.
Okay. Anyways. So yeah, I guess just to wrap up here or whatever. We've been talking about this for a while. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. No offense at all. But I don't find particularly any of the stuff that you said quite convincing for me to believe in God. Maybe convince other people here, I don't know, but just me personally, no offense here, but like I don't think that your answers were that convincing for me to, like, you know, not be atheistic. That's just what I believe. But I do, but I do appreciate the conversation. I do appreciate you sticking around and answering the, you know, the tough questions. And you know,
hello?
Yeah.
What's going on?
What up, Zay?
Hey, Frosty Dog.
Just chilling out, waiting for the anime quiz to start.
Oh shit. I do have a question about the anime quiz though. Will there be any surprise questions about net spin per chance or no? No, that's fine. It's just
I
last
didn't know
year.
what the fuck he just said. I'm gonna have to go ahead.
Probably
and
not.
say
No, probably no net spin questions like net spin. Double T.
No. Yeah, no, never heard of her.
Probably not. Okay. But no Claro like questions, no music questions. Like, just
Hold
a
on, hold on,
surprise,
hold
like a
on.
Surprise.
Hold on. My headphones time. What I was saying to finish up, I was saying I remain unconvinced. However, I do appreciate the discussion and you sticking around to answer the hard questions or whatever. And yeah, that's basically it. Is there anything else you wanted to say or whatever?
I can't really change your opinion, but
Whatever.
Hey, let me take the quiz. Let me take the quiz.
Can you
Wait,
not
what?
start the quiz, dude?
Hold on,
Fine,
wait.
start it.
Hold on. Everybody shut up. What'd you say, Riz?
I just said I can't really change your opinion.